let's be realistic. If you are going to hold people accountable for some standards, we must also be able to keep these standards. What's up, y'all? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Doris Bonitah, and this is obviously my channel. If you are stumbling on this channel for the very first time, if you're a returning viewer and subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you, and I'm so glad you still came back to watch this video. In today's episode, we are going to talk about a couple of behaviors, characters, and mindsets that are keeping you small, that are keeping you from becoming a better human being. Remember, our goal is to be better human beings on this channel. This is why this channel exists. So I'm gonna mention them, and then we're gonna start with one of them, and then we'll break it down depending with the time and how far we would have gone in it. I might have to do another video for a continuation of this, or let's just see how it goes. The first point would be limiting yourself by putting yourself in boxes of where you come from. For instance, Africa, or the country that you come from, or Europe, or America, or Asia. Limiting yourself in a box of the generational bracket that you come from. For instance, boomers, millennials, or Gen Zs, or Gen X. Putting yourself in a box of your tribal stem, where you are coming from, your tribe. For instance, Kikuyu, Luo, Luya. Or racial, the racial box. A black person, Caucasian person, Asian person, etc. Number two is bounding yourself to your past. The past successes and the past mistakes that you made. This one keeps you very small, and you don't move from that. You don't go so far. Number three is I can't learn or be corrected by someone younger than me, someone that is less learned than I am, and someone who doesn't have the experience of whatever area they are advising me of. For example, marriage. If you're not married, you cannot advise me. There's nothing you know about. This mindset is keeping you small. With all those mentioned, with all that mentioned, let's get into it. Let's go straight into the very first point, which is limiting yourself in these spheres, in these boxes. The box of where you come from. As Kenyans, this is how we behave. As Africans, this is how we behave. As Americans, this is how we behave. And most of the time, as I talk about these boxes, I'm talking about those people who justify their bad behavior and bad habits based on these things. As a Kenyan or as Africans, this is how we do it. As Americans, this is how we do it. Or as Gen Zs, this is how we do it. As this tribe, Luos, this is how we behave. Or Luyas, this is how we behave. As Black people or Caucasian people, this is how we behave. I'm talking about justifying things that you actually need to change and check on and improve by virtue of where you come from, or what generation you are in, you are born in, or what color of your skin is, you know. Yes, so this is where we are going to dwell for now. Now I'm going to give example. An example of it is the time. We Africans, we have, in the traditions and the culture of the African, we're very spontaneous people. And as beautiful as this is, and I honestly love that about us, the thing is we have to understand the place and the context to have our spontaneousness. So for instance, you've been asked to be at a place. This is very common in my own country. Probably we are the worst timekeepers as Kenyans, because if you tell a Kenyan show up at 12, they will show up 2 hours later. And this thing personally used to annoy me as a Kenyan, even before I moved abroad, because it's okay to be late, but you can't be that late. That's just how my mindset was. So sometimes when we planned things with my sister, I would be really upset because we will start getting ready, I'm done, and I'm just sitting there, I'm waiting. And then she will keep on going in the house out until 2 hours later is when we are going to this place. Of course, the mood is ruined and all that, and that's wasting time, you know. So as you try, you should not justify this is how we are as Kenyans. Okay, yeah, that's how we grew up, but it doesn't mean we have to stay like that. I'm so glad right now of what is going on in Kenya, because 2 years ago when I visited home, I had this very conversation with a certain guy, a lawyer, a neighbor of my sister. He was dropping us to, I think my sister was going to school. I'm not quite sure where we were going with my sister, but he was dropping us in Nairobi town. And we were having this discussion, and I told him, as we go to school so that we can become better people, we are supposed to be better than our fathers and forefathers. We are not supposed to carry on with what they started. Now, this person is probably a millennial, an early millennial, I think. And unfortunately, this thing was so embedded in them. The loyalty to people and the tribalism was really deep. It surprised me because he was actually a lawyer. I mean, this is a learned person. It wasn't just any person. And the exposure I've had, because of course, by God's grace, I've been able to go to university. My mindset has changed like that. Like, just because you found something going on, it doesn't mean you have to continue it, especially if you've noticed that it doesn't benefit anyone. It is not beneficial for humanity. Cut it. So we had this conversation with this guy, and I said it's high time as Kenyans we stop voting tribal. And he was like, yeah, this is how it's been, and I mean, that's what we are just going to do. And I said, no, this is why we go to school, so that we can come and look into, we should be loyal to our country, you know, not to the person sitting on the seat. Because at the end of the day, the country is what is left of us. These other people, all of us will pass away, you know. But the Kenya will stay. And I'm so glad right now that people have refused to think the way the post-colonial effects that brought this tribalism among us. There was a situation that was going on where the government tried to play tribal again, and the Gen Zs say that they are all Kikuyus because they said Kikuyus were the bad people. They were attacking, they were the one who were rioting and all. And every person, every tribe went and said they are Kikuyu because they were also in the demonstration, in the peaceful demonstration. And the government was really disarmed. So I'm really glad that we are shifting our mindsets. Just because you find something tribal going on, it doesn't mean you have to carry on. And this is a call also for all of us, especially those in the West. You found racism, it doesn't mean you have to continue it or pretend as if it is not going on, because the pretense part is the road that some people are going through. There are some people that are making really great effort to make sure there's justice, no matter how a person's skin look like or where they come from and whatever. But there are few people that are still racist. So I just want to talk to you and say, it starts with self-examination. You have to first acknowledge it, check first, if you yourself are tribal or racist, you don't have to say it on social media. You don't have to tell anyone. Just do a self-check yourself and then work on yourself, and then spread awareness, talk to people, you know. This mindset of limiting yourself, this is how we do it, this is how we behave, especially if it is something that is thwarting your progress and the progress of other people, just cut it. Now, there's this thing about time in Germany. Unfortunately, my encounter with the Germans that I've had, they rarely keep time. I think I would just say one person I've encountered is the only one that keep time. That's my host dad. The other party, no. Now, the problem is when they expect you to keep time, but on their side, they are not keeping time. And I'm usually saying in my heart, like, if you are going to hold me accountable to that higher standard, at least make sure that you're also meeting the same standard that you're giving to me. Because you shouldn't expect this, but you are offering less. It's the bare minimum. So now, of course, I've improved so much. I try to keep time as much as I can, especially if it's like the serious appointments. If it's going to work or a meeting or, you know, something like that, I try to keep time as much as possible. Even the social, if I'm just meeting up a friend, I try to keep time. And if I see that I'm not going to keep time, whether it is an African friend or a German friend, I'm gonna write them and tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be late by this minute, or I don't know how long I will need, but I will be quite late. And that works. At least it is respectful to tell someone I'm gonna be late so that they are prepared psychologically. On the generational brackets, I believe that Gen Zs have a lesser, most Gen Zs, because of the systems that we have and the mindset that we have consumed, most Gen Zs have a lesser perseverance stamina, so to say. And as beautiful as that might sound, is actually not a good thing. And sometimes this perseverance is actually not built by just, like, you won't just receive perseverance. You receive it through hard situations. I'm not saying that we should just allow suffering, like we should just suffer like that and just take the suffering all the time. But sometimes things like, you know, you are delayed at work. There are a couple of videos I've been seeing online, just people talking about Gen Zs at work and all. They're supposed to leave at 5, and immediately the boss is even like reviewing the project that they gave them, and because it's 5 p.m. they just leave the boss like that and go. You can never learn. There's some places you have to go through some stuff. There's some places you will have to not talk. You will have to not speak up for yourself, for you to learn, you know, perseverance, compassion. I can speak it from a Christian point of view. In our time, in our generation, we've been told to speak up our mind so much that sometimes we sabotage our growth and our development in the part that we are not supposed to say anything. Now, if you are Christian, I would advise you to always ask the Holy Spirit before you speak anything. Even if you know what this person said was not right, or how they said it, I don't appreciate it. It's not all the time that you have to speak up. There are some things you just let them slide. Just let it go. Yes, there was an extremism in the times of our mothers and grandmothers, but we should not just throw it away just because there was the misuse of not speaking up for yourself. No, you must find a balance. There's time to speak up for yourself, and there's time to just let it go. Just let it slide. You don't have to talk about everything. You don't have to be loud. Sometimes we are very zealous people, and then we end up dying early because our zeal killed us. Were we doing the right thing? Yes, we were. But sometimes it is important to sit down and think before you act. This is how sometimes you become disrespectful to your parents. And I'm so grateful personally. I grew up in Kenya. I grew up with the kind of parents that I have right now, because there's just a way I cannot behave. I'm a Gen Z, but there are some limits. There are some behaviors that Gen Zs have that I cannot find myself doing that. Not even because I'm a Christian, but because how my parents raised me. They raised me with some values that I just can't. I hear some people talk to our lecturers in class, our professors, and I'm just like, yo, look, I understand that times are evolving, but yo, just respect people, by virtue that someone is older than you, you can respectfully air out your issue without just being rude, And this is a thing I've noticed in the West, and I've had a conversation with some, with a parent, for instance, because I'm like, this is not preparing people to live with other people. And this is why we have, the world is keeping on being broken and broken, because there are a bunch of people just talking without thinking. Even preaching, you must know when to say what to say and how to say it. You don't just say it. I came to realize that respect is not about what you say, it's about how you say. The tone you're using and the choice of words that you're using. And this is a place where there's a deficit in our time right now. People are very careless with the words that are coming out of their mouth. I'm so surprised that even professors in university are using the cursing words and the F words and all. They don't even think that there are some students who might not be comfortable with such kind of things. And then when other people are airing other opinions that are contrary to theirs, now we are the ones that are intolerant. Really? Let's be realistic. If you are going to hold people accountable for some standards, we must also be able to keep these standards. The racial things you've seen, maybe Black people, this is what they do, they do cleaning jobs, they do this kind of jobs, and then you limit yourself when you come here. You are just looking for cleaning jobs. Who told you you're supposed to be like them? Who told you that? Aim higher. Don't be limited by what you've seen other people do or go through. If it's your moment of training, please take it. Because it also teaches you to be compassionate and to see other people, but let that not be your mindset. That when you get here, these are the kind of jobs that you're going to do because that's what you see other people do. No, don't be like that. Unfortunately, I can't find anything on the white folks, or maybe I think on the white folks I can say thinking they are smarter than us. Bro, you are missing out. If you have this mindset, it is very foolish, because you are missing out on the things that you can learn from us, just because they told you are better than the other people because their colors are different. So don't let these mindsets limit you, or even you as a Black person, they told you are the Caucasians are smarter than you. You might not be the best in everything, but there's something that you know and you know it well. So you make good use of that and don't limit yourself. Don't just follow steps of what people did. Like I always say, the lives of people are templates. If a person achieved this, you aim higher, because you are actually meant to be more. You are meant to be more than your forefathers. You are meant to be more than those who went ahead of you, because you've already seen the things that they did right and the mistakes that they did, and you have a chance to make better. Don't just go like that bluntly. I always say I respect these two men, Malcolm X and MLK Jr., But the difference between Malcolm X and MLK is that Malcolm was zealous and he went to fight for freedom, for people with this zeal. And zeal without control is death. MLK was able to live a bit longer because he was led by the Spirit. And that's why there are some places that you will see he made some decisions. Of course, he got in trouble because people didn't understand why he did that, but he was being led by the Spirit. And he followed those instructions. So even when his time came, he knew it was time. He was about to leave this world. So we learn from that. We learn from what they did. People like Nelson Mandela and Winnie Mandela. We saw what happened with them. And we are not just supposed to do everything because we are the fan of Winnie Mandela or the fan of Nelson Mandela. You just do everything that they did. No, what they did, you better it. What they did well, you better it. The mistakes that they made, you make a better decision. Young men are supposed to be better than their fathers. And that should be our goal. I hope this helps. Next time we will get into the second point, and see you on Friday. Bye.